cryptocurrency and financial expert at AJ Bell. He joins us now from Bristol in the UK. Really good to have you with us, Laith. This is a dramatic development in the wake of the collapse of FTX. What do you think will happen to Bankman-Fried now that he has been arrested?
Well, I think that's anyone's guess. I mean, clearly there's a huge mess to clear up in terms of finding out what went on. We're still kind of learning that. Regulators and legislators are still learning that, and there's a lot of unpicking to be done in terms of what went wrong here, finding out who's to blame and what the consequences of that are. So we're at the kind of very beginning of this story, even though it does seem to have been rolling on for a considerable time already.
We sure are. We are preparing to hear from US authorities later today to see what charges they'll announce. In the meantime, the collapse of FTX earlier this month sparked a lot of turmoil in an already volatile crypto sector. Do you think the collapse of FTX will prompt more regulation of this volatile sector?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think it was already happening to a certain extent, but this obviously, creates a real and tangible example of why the industry does require regulation. I mean, I guess the problem is that this was a company that was headquartered in the Bahamas, it's difficult to have sort of regulation which isn't global on crypto because it is such a global enterprise. But the fact that you've got kind of retail consumers who are now out of pocket because of what looks like very poor governance standards, really heightens the case for regulation of this industry.
Yes, and some skeptics are even saying that the collapse of FTX, which was once the second largest crypto exchange in the world, really proves that cryptocurrencies are certainly not a safe bet and that investors shouldn't be investing them at all. Is this the end of mainstream access to the crypto market, do you think, or is this more of a bump in crypto's future?
It's the end by any means. I mean, definitely there are two kinds of risk, at least, that we're talking about here. One is the risk of investing in crypto, which is very volatile, and that's an extremely real risk. And anyone who's putting money into this needs to be willing to kind of do so with a very small amount of money because you could lose it entirely. But what's happened, here is a different kind of risk, which is in terms of actually kind of, losing your money because, the governance structures around how it was being taken care of weren't properly in place. And if you think about other exchanges, the stock exchange has been around for hundreds of years. It's learned lots of lessons over that time and has a huge amount of regulation in it. So, crypto's really gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour in a very short space of time. It's definitely a big setback for crypto. I don't see that it's definitely the end of crypto. I do, wonder what the future of crypto is because it does need to find some sort of use in terms of adoption by businesses and consumers and investors on a regular basis. But, FTX in itself, for me, is a question of making sure that if people are trading in this asset, they're able to do that safely, and know that that the risks that they're opening themselves to are the risk of the asset rather than the exchange that they're using going bust and their money effectively disappearing.
Okay, Laith Khalaf, we will have to leave it there, but great to get your thoughts on this issue. Thank you.